There are so many regulations that we need to honor, and there's so many things that are out of our control or are not conducive to out designing on the human side. So unlike constructing your home, there is a degree of flexibility in terms of the layout, the styles, the materials. But when it comes to the soil and the soil structure on our property that is suitable for cleaning your wastewater and returning clean water to our water table, ultimately for our drinking water that we all share as a community and as a region, there's less flexibility, and there's things we can't really fudge. So one of the very, very important first steps is the landowner's declaration or the property owner's declaration. Sometimes it's called a homeowner's declaration, but the home may not be built yet. So we'll just call it the property owner's declaration. And this is a very, very, very important legal document that comes in the absolute beginning of even thinking about building upon our land. The homeowner or property owner declaration must be filled out before we even consider working with one another. The next thing that we look at is the building information. So this would include any buildings that are already on the property, including temporary structures like mobile homes, trailers, tiny homes, any structure at all. And knowing the sizes of these is very important. And then also, if you have a proposed design, being very clear with me on, does a plan or a layout for the dwelling already exist? And also obtaining your official formal site survey documents, and yeah, your proposed dwelling and dwellings. So we know sort of in the building world that if a building is under a certain amount of square footage, it doesn't really count or isn't really needed to get permits. But that is not the case here. We do need to know the structures of all the sizes. We need to know the number of bedrooms, and we also need to know the number of occupants. We legally need to know this so that we design a system that can handle the wastewater coming from the dwellings, all of the dwellings on the property. There are regulations that stipulate we need to know number of bedrooms as well as knowing number of occupants. And you can be very helpful by letting us know, are there grandparents in the house? Could there be times of year, like in the summer, where grandchildren and children, their adult parents, are staying in the home? Do you have guests every weekend? Do you host large events? Do you host parties? Do you host, even a few people more than the occupants does put a significant strain on the wastewater systems in some situations. So being very upfront about your lifestyle is very, very helpful. And it's helpful so that we can design a system that meets the needs. And it's much, much, much less expensive to do that rather than to repair things later or to be called out for alarms, because the wastewater flow is a lot larger than what it was designed for. It's much less expensive than getting charged by the government for environmental violations. So just and also to incorporate and clarify, this is what we are right now, but in 5 years, we want to start running retreats. Or in 10 years, we'll be giving this house over to our children, or we'll have multiple people living in the dwelling, or we'd like to open a suite later. So being very specific, and I'll give you the room to do this, is very, very, very important. And then also, will you have a basement? You may not be intending to finish it right now, but it may be in your 3 or 5 year plan, and knowing that ahead of time is very, very important. Something that people may not know is that in-sink garbage disposal units almost require a doubling of design. So they put a huge strain on wastewater systems. So we need to know them ahead of time so that we can accommodate that and we don't have a system failure. Any kind of home-based business, even if you think it's not related. For example, if you have a bed and breakfast and you have beautiful white linens, you will not be able to use bleach, and you will have an increased wash loads. Are you planning on having a water softener? Do you have a water softener on your well? Do you have wells nearby? Are you conducting home-based business where, for example, if you're processing meat, There are animal byproducts that impact. Do you have someone in the home on a lifetime of medications? Is very, very important to declare. Do you have a pet grooming business? Very important. Catering, brewery, all of these things. Just clarify, and then we can design accordingly.